Hey there everybody, it's Mark Curley. I'm back with another How to Draw video. Today we're going to be learning how to draw the Grinch. From The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. Something about the year 2020 just made me think, yeah, the Grinch. The Grinch is a good choice. The whole year feels as if it's the result of a dastardly plot by the Grinch to ruin not just Christmas, but the entire year for everybody. I'm beginning with a basic guideline here. I've figured out a way of drawing the Grinch that involves a few basic shapes to begin with. And the first shape that I'm going to draw is what I'm calling a kind of lopsided heart shape. Okay, so imagine this as half of the heart. And because it's lopsided, this other half of the heart is considerably larger. It's actually the shape of the sort of lower part of the head of the Grinch. And it's because the neck is going to have the collar of like a Santa Claus type coat. I'm just flattening the heart at the very bottom. So see if you can replicate this shape more or less, with the lopsided size of the heart being, I would say, about twice the size of the smaller left-hand side. And then if you want, you can sort of overlap this, because that's going to come into play later on too. And then we're going to draw the top of the head. Now I'm coming over here to sort of like midway through that curve, and I'm going to just draw a circular, semicircular shape. Don't worry about this top part, because it also is going to get covered with a sort of Santa Claus type of hat. And this whole upper line here, you're not even going to see at the end. The key thing is maybe to get these two lines on the left and the right in place. And that really is good for giving you the basic shape of what the Grinch's head is going to be like. Let's take this line that I drew before and continue it down until it curves back into this area where the neck is. This is going to give us the sort of central vertical line that we can build the facial features on. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in actually so that you can see the details as I continue further on with drawing the eyes and the nose and the mouth. Okay, so now I am going to draw a couple of small curved lines that are going to be where the eyes go. And they are more or less the same size. I guess this one over here is going to be a little bit larger. The eye that's closer to us in this sort of 3/4 point of view. And then we have to draw a basic line for the mouth. Now, I should say that this version of the Grinch is based largely on the Chuck Jones animated cartoon version from the 1970s. That's the version of the story that I grew up with, really. It, of course, all comes from a book by Dr. Seuss that came out in the late 50s. And I'm going to try to add a few little sort of Dr. Seussian details when it comes to wrapping this up. But anyway, this mouth line that I just drew has a kind of a V. It's like a mix between a U and a V. I saw some drawings where it came to a point, and that sort of looked nice to me. And so imagine it almost like a beak-like shape there. And that is giving us the basic guidelines that we can really start to build the final guidelines on top. But before we do that, I'm going to draw one line across here to help myself understand where the Santa hat is going to go. And down here as well, that's what that line really is going to be where the collar of his coat goes. And at this stage, I think we can begin to get into some of the final lines. Now, you know, a lot of my videos are quite detailed. This one actually has relatively few lines. Which of course means that you want to be careful about each and every one of them. I'm straightening out this part of the heart here, okay? And I'm going to do the same thing here, actually almost maybe have it curve a little bit in the opposite direction. And this becomes this sort of dastardly looking brow of the Grinch. And I'm adding an extra shape right here that again suggests the sort of contour of a devious looking brow. Normally would be an angry looking pair of eyebrows, or just sort of the furrowed brow here, but because he's smiling, it conveys mischievousness. Concocting his little schemes to ruin 2020 for everyone. Now I'm going to add eyes. Or the irises, I guess I should say. I'm going to put them a little bit off to one side so it will appear that he's staring at us. And it's time to draw the nose. The nose, as I looked at these drawings by, again, the great animator Chuck Jones, I was surprised to see how high up the nose is in relation to the eyes, and you end up with quite a large sort of upper lip area. But the nose itself, pretty small. And I'm going to go ahead and have this line, just very light line that divides and kind of makes him look cat-like. And now it's time to draw the lines at the edge of the mouth that add to that feeling of, the flesh of the cheeks being pushed back by the smile. And later on, when I ink this, you're going to see me add some details to make it look more, as I said, a little more Dr. Seuss-like. But one thing that we need to add is a suggestion of fur up here. Now I'm going to erase away because that line actually that I drew as like a heart shape was really just a guideline. And over here I'm going to take this curved line and start to break it into 2 or 3 sort of tufts of fur. Again, sort of making him look cat-like. But it's only in this upper area that we're going to do that. And so I'll erase away just a little bit so you see those as the contour lines that they will eventually be. It's interesting, if you are a fan of Chuck Jones and you look at his drawings of the Grinch, you can somehow see that almost Bugs Bunny-like quality shining through. It is sort of interesting. He was fairly faithful to Dr. Seuss's original design, but they hired him because they wanted that Chuck Jones look, and so you can somehow see that style. So I'm doing a similar thing over here. It's facing away from us, so you're not going to see quite so much of it. And then a lot of the drawings that I was looking at did have a line for the lower lip, so I'm putting that in. And then some of the drawings had a sort of like a barely visible chin. Really, the head sort of just morphs into the neck at this point, but I saw some lines that had sort of an indication of a chin. And that is more or less it for the basic lines of this head. Let's pull back so that I can do the relatively simple lines for the Santa Claus hat and collar. So I'm just going to begin by taking this line that was across the top of his head and sort of turning this into a loose donut shape, as if he has a donut on his head. And then I'm going to do a sort of slightly angular, what are you saying? Angular looking Santa cap, which to me also has a little bit of the Dr. Seuss-like feel to it. Rarely did he do super basic shapes. They always had a little bit of that Dr. Seussian quirk to them, So instead of the cone shape, I'm having it sort of bend over, which I think adds to that sort of devious look. And then here's the sort of puff of cotton or whatever that would be at the end there. And we're going to refine this a little more later on, but for now let's jump down here to where the collar would be. Again, a sort of a donut shape. I must have donuts on the brain this morning. So hungry. And then for his shoulders, or lack thereof, I'm really just going to have maybe have him hunched over a little bit, which might add to the look of deviousness, leaning forward just a touch. And now we can really finally start to get into the details of the furry lining of the cap. And I'm going to be quite spontaneous here in just turning it into these sort of cloud-like bunches of curved lines. Again, one of the things that I like about the Dr. Seuss style is there's rarely perfect symmetry. You know, there's a spontaneity to the lines, and if the shapes are a little imbalanced, well, so much the better. That adds to that Dr. Seussian whimsical quality. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Instead of making it a perfectly round cotton ball, have it sort of poking off in different directions. And then we want to have the matching lines down here. Now, one thing I'm going to do in time-lapse is I'm going to lighten up these lines. I want to make them almost barely visible so that I can do the coloring before I do the inking. And that's one of my techniques that I use. It's really great, especially if you're using markers. If you do the coloring first, then you don't have to worry about what can happen with the marker and the ink blurring together, or the ink smearing, the ink of the marker smearing the black ink of your line pen, that you're using for the final line art. So give me a second here. I'm going to go ahead and time-lapse. I'm going to lighten up these lines, make them much more subtle, and then I'm going to come back and do a quick little bit of coloring before moving on to the inking. Alright, so we lightened everything up, and I was using a kneaded eraser. You can get this at arts or craft stores, or you just use an ordinary pencil eraser. And for the green of his face, I would advise you to find something pretty close to lime green. Certainly be careful not to just grab a dark green marker and go to town on what you just drew here, because if it's really dark, you're going to, even using a lightish green, I'm in danger of wiping out a lot of the guidelines. But the darker the green goes, the more you're really going to be in trouble in terms of having the lines that you draw on top of that stand out. They would just vanish into the green. And I'm going to continue in time-lapse to add the colors for the rest of this, but suffice to say, the skin is green all through the entire face. The eyes are yellow, which adds certainly to his devious, evil look. And then, of course, it's Christmas time. We're going to just use a bright red for the cap and the rest of the coat. I'm going to add a little bit of bluish shadowing for the white areas, just so that they don't look quite so blank. So I'm going to go ahead and do this all in time-lapse, and we'll be back to do some inking. So now it's time to do the inking, and I'm using a rather thick variety of the Pigma Micron Permanent Ink Pen 08, which is my preferred width of the ink nib. And I'm going in here and trying my best to simulate, as I said, these sort of Dr. Seuss-like lines. And he really was a master of inking. I suspect, actually, that he was using brush, probably, and I could attempt to ink this with a brush, but I don't think it would look very good. So I'm actually just trying to emulate that brush-like look using an ink pen. And of course, this whole aspect of adding color and inking should be entirely up to you. If you wanted to color it in with, say, colored pencils, I think that could look great. I wanted to sort of simulate the look of the Dr. Seuss picture books, which tend to have very flat sort of machine process colors, rather than anything where you can see the individual brush strokes or whatever. I believe I'm correct in saying that the majority of those great Dr. Seuss books, like The Cat in the Hat or Green Eggs and Ham, have this sort of deliberately flat coloring process, and then the ink really stands out against the bright colors, but not having a lot of brush strokes or whatever inside them. And I guess the one last thing that I'd say about my approach to inking is to have some confidence. When I lay that line in, I try to just, as often as possible, do it with a single stroke of the pen. Now, trying to imitate a brush approach does, for me, mean thickening things up a little. But you don't want to go back in there too much, or it sort of kills the liveliness of the line. And maybe that's about it in terms of the various steps of this process of doing an illustration of the Grinch. I'm going to finish this all up in time-lapse, and I'll be back with a few final words. Okay, so there's my video on how to draw the Grinch. I hope you enjoyed it. Before I go, I want to let you know about a podcast that I did a couple of weeks back called Mandarin Monkey, where I was interviewed by a couple who live in Taiwan about how I used to live in Taiwan and how I studied Chinese and so forth. I'll put a link to that podcast in the description of this video for those of you who would like to hear me trying to speak in Mandarin Chinese, at least a little throughout that interview. But I guess it's time to wind down this video. I want to wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas. And before I go, always like to say thank you to anyone who has supported me by getting any of my books, like The Drawing Lesson, a graphic novel that teaches you how to draw, The Two-Pencil Method, my more straightforward book about pencil drawing, and finally, the Mastering Manga series. Really cannot say thank you enough to any of you who choose to support me by getting any of those books. But let's go ahead and lay down this pen. I want to thank you all for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back with another one real soon.